What we're going to see here, ERRIGO is big and powerful, and KIEFER is going to have to use her speed and get inside the guard of ERRIGO.
Look, let's not beat around the bush here. Lee KIEFER's tiny. She's tiny.
She is, and we'll see her trying to get close to ERRIGO and trying not to be in situations like that where ERRIGO can attack at long distance, because obviously there's a distance here that ERRIGO can hit, which KIEFER cannot, just based on length of arm. The foils are obviously the same size, but their arms are going to be vastly different lengths.
Yeah, so essentially what you're saying is that ERRIGO can hit from further away than KIEFER can.
Exactly. So but in KIEFER's favour, she can probably move a lot quicker than ERRIGO can. So
and she's got half the target area.
And she's got a small target area, yeah. So that was an example of ERRIGO coming a bit too close and KIEFER jumping even closer, so that ERRIGO's long arm length made no difference, and actually the small target area then helped KIEFER. And of course in foil we have the right-of-way rule, which, being exhibited here by KIEFER, you can take over the attack, and even if ERRIGO hits first, KIEFER still had the right-of-way there because she was the attacker. At least I think she was. ERRIGO's asked for a video review of that hit.
Andrzej Witkowski is our referee here. Get another view. There they are. That's Andrzej Witkowski in the front there with Willem Madder standing behind. Willem Madder is the video referee, so he's the one that's responsible for giving his opinion on the video replay, which they can watch in various speeds. And you talked earlier on, Lawrence, about the speed of movement. It can often help a referee just to slow it down a little bit on the replay.
Yeah, I mean, there's just no way that a referee can see everything that happens in a fight with the naked eye. So I think it's a great benefit to the fencers, but also to the referee to have an option. They don't have to wait for a review to be called by an athlete. They can just decide to go and check the video before making a decision. And you see that, I mean, it's a great addition to the sport, I think.
Oh, it's a great thing for the audience as well. It helps the fencer, the referee, and of course the audience get an opportunity to see some of these super fast actions really slowed right down.
Yeah, absolutely.
So KIEFER looking to close this distance right down and get inside the distance of ERRIGO. ERRIGO at the moment is winning that distance battle. A slow approach on her attack, I think, is really what's allowing her to close up and land as well.
Yeah, absolutely. She knows that KIEFER's going to want to close the distance, so she's just not going too far, so she can bring her point down when KIEFER tries to counterattack in.
So is KIEFER going backwards to just try and, well, she just answered that question. Yeah, to try and do exactly that. Is she actually trying to get to that back line so that ERRIGO is forced onto her with?
I think she's just trying to defend with giving herself as much time as possible to choose when to counterattack or when to find the blade. And if you go a bit too soon, it just might not be the right time. So the longer you give yourself whilst defending, the more options you have to show your opponent that you're doing something else, or that you want to jump in at the wrong time. So just using the whole piece can be incredibly effective, just for having the opportunity to see when to strike or when to find the blade.
Well, the bragging rights went to ERRIGO in the early stages of this match, but KIEFER's got right back into it.
And there's a lovely parry riposte. She's changed now. She's changing between counterattacks, where she just jumps into the attack and drawing out, showing that she's going to counterattack, and finding the blade with a parry and a riposte. And really just doing a mix of those two things in defense will leave ERRIGO really unsure whether she should attack direct like that and be hit with a parry riposte, or pull her arm back and try and avoid the parry, in which case KIEFER can jump in and hit with a counterattack. So KIEFER seems quite confident bringing ERRIGO out and letting her attack now.
Oh, she's doing so well, isn't she? And like you said at the beginning, it's if you can maximise your qualities,
advantages, or natural advantages,
then you really can be any success. And I think, in particularly at foil, I mean, the longer reaching épée certainly I know a very good epist, I won't name any names, but he says a good big un will usually always beat a good small un, whereas that's not the case with foil.
That's not the case with foil, but then again, the recent épée Olympic champion is a fairly short, very fast Korean fencer, and they have just being fast is a huge advantage in fencing. So
this is so true, and I mean there are some small épées out there, but you perhaps don't see this kind of contrast in
not so often in épée. Yeah, no, that's true.
So KIEFER has managed to find the right distance. Pin to the back line. ERRIGO just can't find a way through at the moment.
This is fascinating because the first 4 hits went to ERRIGO while she was attacking, and then KIEFER carried on defending and got the next 5, 6, 7 hits. And we're continuing with this dynamic with ERRIGO attacking, KIEFER defending. And it's whether ERRIGO can find her rhythm and find her distance, or if she's actually going to stop at some point and try and draw KIEFER out. But no, she wants to get that attack going.
Surely at some point we're going to see ERRIGO's flowing long attack.
Well, she's finding it difficult. KIEFER is defending brilliantly by just keeping it unpredictable in defense. That's a wonderful attack. It's on, I think it's on ERRIGO's preparation. ERRIGO starts very slowly. KIEFER thinks she has the time to attack fast into it. Maybe ERRIGO did manage to finish.
But are you saying that I mean, I think what most people would benefit from is having the understanding of what constitutes an attack. What do you have to do?
Well, you have to start your attack with your arm out in front of you first and going forwards. But it does get it gets difficult to decide when one person is starting slowly, the other person is starting fast. So, I mean, the referees have a tough decision. That was an attempt at a stop hit from KIEFER, where you touch the other person's jacket and try and get away before they can hit you, which would be amazing for such a short fencer against somebody so much taller. But ERRIGO just managed to finish her attack.
Again, we get another example of the American picking up the moment and picking up the blade. But going back to that description of attack, one of my first coaches first said to me is you've got to start your arm moving forwards and do so continuously until it's straight. So if you stop extending your arm at any point, you lose the right of way. Is that a simple explanation?
It's a simple explanation, and it can't be explained that simply. Because we do add in, if you're really racing forward with your legs and both fences are moving one direction, the attacker's arm doesn't have to be going forward necessarily. It's kind of more subjectively who is the attacker
who appears to be attacking.
Who appears to be attacking, and I mean, even for us fencing aficionados, it can be difficult to decide. We'll be in disagreement a lot.
Well, you've seen it here. You've got 2 expert fencers, number 1 and number 3 in the world, fencing against each other, a world-class referee making the decisions, and on some occasions all 3 have got a different opinion about them. So
it makes it difficult, but it also makes it exciting.
It makes it so interesting. It's a fascinating sport. At the moment, it looks like we might well have 2 Americans in the final, and that's not that big a surprise anymore, is it really, in the world of fencing?
No, they've been for a good 10 years or so. They've been growing as a fencing nation, and now they are starting to dominate. Certainly at foil, men's and women's foil, they are beginning to dominate. Italy are the traditional dominating fencing nation at foil, especially, and we're seeing here 2 Americans basically making light work of 2 of the best, 2 of the top Italians. Now ERRIGO is going to have to change something to really claw back, because KIEFER looks like she's quite confident in this.
Yeah, I have to say that's a nice attack.
Tries another stop hit from KIEFER. It's an ambitious attempt at a hit against somebody so tall. I'd like to see it work, but she hasn't. ERRIGO's too good to miss that attack.
Yeah, perhaps the shorter fencer is not going to land what you call the stop hit, sort of counter-attack as you're running away. You're trying to hit your opponent and make sure they don't hit you. Look, to some extent, ERRIGO I'm reluctant to say this because I love her fencing. I think she's an absolute superstar. Of course, she's the world #1. She's brilliant. But to some extent, she's tried to impose herself a little bit too much on the fight. Why is she just going after KIEFER time and time again when KIEFER's getting hit after hit? Shouldn't she just back away?
Yeah, that was a point I kind of made early, that she got 4 hits early on from doing it and then lost a lot in a row from doing it and continued to do it. And she went a long way behind in the similar style, and now she's catching back up again. So
the same tactics worked, not worked, and he's working again.
Yeah, there's such small margins that you get and lose hits from, that she just has so much confidence in that style, in her aggressive style. Like I said about imposing her own rhythm on the fight, she's just intent on making this her fight.
Well, look, KIEFER went miles ahead, and ERRIGO's clawed it right back together. They get an opportunity of a minute's break here. Fencing's broken up into 3 periods of 3 minutes, and in between those periods, you get a minute's break. You can take on some water, you can do your hair up, you can have a chat with your coach about your tactics, and here we see KIEFER doing just that, her hair, and having a bit of a tactical challenge. I'm sure that we're going to see down the other end of the piste as ERRIGO is sitting on the piste having a chat with Cipressa. Well, these minutes must just go like that.
Yeah,
breaks.
It's so intense, the fencing, that as soon as you come off, you take a drink, you wipe your sweat away, and then there's 15 seconds left, and you've got time maybe to take in one piece of advice, or just have a little think about one thing you might want to do differently in the next period, and then it's back on.
And look, in all honesty, I know this is probably different for different people, but in general, are you looking for some advice from a coach? I mean, if you're leading, does the coach go, keep up with it, Lawrence?
Yeah, if you're in the lead, you're generally just thinking much of the same, work a little bit harder, something like that. If you're really struggling for ideas, then it can be a real kind of a saviour to have a minute's break and get to talk about it. But
well, here we go, Andrzej Witkowski. We're not going to see another minute's break here for sure. The start of the second period of the second semi-final of the Turin Grand Prix. It's Lee KIEFER, world #3 from the United States, leading Arianna ERRIGO, world #1 from Italy. 12-11, target score of 15. And KIEFER is just one more point closer to that target score. Come on, here's to Florence. Yes, they are Florence. I'd give that to you. Who would you put that on right now?
Well, I'm going to put it on KIEFER because she's in the lead at this time, and she's just picking up the right moments. I mean, she's been ahead pretty much since round 4 in this match, and I think she's just getting. She's feeling good in defense, and she finally finishes off with an attack, which is fantastic. A fantastic surprise that ERRIGO was not expecting.
Amazing stuff. Lee KIEFER, world #3. Has beaten Arianna ERRIGO of Italy, the world #1, 15-11, and joins her compatriot Nicole Ross in the gold medal match, which will come up in around about 10 minutes' time. Let's just give us a little summary of that fight and answer one question. Why did ERRIGO just carry on doing the same thing?
Yeah, so that was an interesting approach from ERRIGO. It was effectively the same tactics throughout, and she obviously had confidence that she could turn it around when it wasn't going so well and start hitting the things she was missing. But it was a flawed approach in the end, because 2 of the final 3 hits were from her still not being able to finish her attack, and KIEFER just finding the right moment to jump in and block her out. So I think in hindsight, if she watched it back, she would probably want to have taken a little bit more time over it. Maybe, I mean, there wasn't a second that was played in ERRIGO's own half. I mean, she didn't try at all to draw KIEFER out into attacking before that final hit, which was obviously a complete surprise to ERRIGO, because KIEFER had been going backwards the whole time. So it was definitely an interesting approach, and one that KIEFER, I think you've got to put your hands up to KIEFER for trusting in her own defense against the world #1 who is so brilliant at attacking. She just stuck to her guns, and she could do it. She hit so many from defense.
And you know what's so interesting about it? I mean, if you're new to the sport, and we are making history today, going out live on the Olympic channel. So if you're watching this and you've never seen fencing before, you may have looked at